Hey guys, this is AZ Wallbreaker or Ozzy, and you are watching Wallbreakers. Today I'm going to discuss how my writing is for last week in writing my book. Also, I'm going to talk about what book I'm reading right now that is inspiring me to write the book I'm writing. Before I get into that, please hit, or better yet, smash subscribe or the like button. And also, if you are watching this, share my videos because I like inspiring people. I like giving them, motivating them to go forward and wall break through any obstacles that they might face so they can accomplish whatever goals that they would like to accomplish. Anyway, now on to what I'm going to talk about. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how I'm doing with my writing. Well, last week was kind of weird because now that I'm doing YouTube a lot, it is getting a little bit difficult to write my book. I'm very motivated, very focused, but with YouTube and trying to post so many videos, my goal with YouTube is to post 5 videos a week right now, but with all the work that involves with putting into YouTube, it kind of takes away from my writing. But on Monday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday were kind of like focusing on YouTube days. So that's what I focused on. And I didn't really get writing those first 3 days, but I made progress on Wednesday. I made progress on Wednesday, and I was in the zone like I was last week, my last blog that I posted. And I finally got to a point where I'm near the end of my chapter 4 in my book, and I was this close to coming to finishing it until I hit a writer's block. I couldn't figure out how to describe a certain weapon the way I wanted it to, so I had to take a break because I didn't know how to describe this weapon. So I decided to take a little break from it for the rest of the week until I can get an idea of what I would like to do, how in describing this weapon. But I finally got it, so I'm going to type it probably tonight if I have time. I also got more YouTube videos to film and upload, but I finally figured out the weapon and how I'm going to put this weapon into this character that I'm writing in the book. But I think it's going to be cool. I have it in my mind. I see it. It's amazing that you take a little break from your writing and all of a sudden the creative flow comes into place into helping you figure out how to get over those writer's blocks. And I think I got what I need to finish chapter 4 to get on to chapter 5. Going from here, I got to talk to my sister. My sister is an actress, and she's in LA right now. She's doing a play. Now, the reason I depend on my sister to help me write this book because of her acting. Because as an actress, they have to read a lot to grasp the storyline, to grasp the characters, to understand how they should portray that character. So when my sister reads a play, she does theater. When she reads a play, she really has to pay attention to the nuances of that character that she's playing. How does she affects other characters? How does she affect herself? How does she affect the storylines? How does she affect the environment, the atmosphere? She has to take that into detail. So each word in the plays that she does, each word in the script, she has to take that into consideration because the way the words are put into the script affects how she has to portray. Even like the word a or an changes everything for her. So I'm depending on her to help me write my storyline to make it better. So I'm using her as my editor right now, and it's been very helpful. She's gave me great advice about how I should write my first 3 chapters. So I It's only been the first chapter. I only gave to the second and third, and I haven't talked to her. I will probably today. I will call her today and get an update of what I need to do to improve the second and third chapters. I kind of give her a chapter that I complete so she can just rip through it and give me her honest opinion of what I need to do and to change, which having her has helped me as a writer because now I see things that I didn't see when I first started, and it's really helping me better write the story. So I am going to talk to my sister this week, probably after I post this on YouTube, and get her insight of what I need to change, what I need to add, what I need to take out, stuff that's gonna help the book come along. Also, with my sister helping, it gives me motivation to continue because now she's putting her energy, she's taking her time to read my book and be able to give positive critiques to help me out. And that's the lesson I want to share. If you're writing a book, after you start doing your second draft of your book, you need to go out there and talk to people. Give your book to your friends and family because they're going to give different insights. They're going to tell you things that you probably didn't see when you wrote it. It's weird because even when I took the break, it was like when I got back into it, I was just typing and even when I haven't even really read my first draft because for me that my first draft was more brainstorming, so I was just writing just to write and just put ideas on paper to, as I said before in my last video, to take the intangible and make it tangible. So if I see it, it's there and it's not going anywhere, and now I can change and add and take out because it's there. If it's intangible, it's pretty hard to do that because you can't see what you wrote. So my biggest advice is don't be afraid to share your ideas with people. Don't be afraid to take what's in your mind and put it on paper and see what people think. I mean, you have to take a chance. I mean, when you're writing a book, you gotta give your ideas a chance, and the only way you can do that is by sharing your ideas, writing them down, and that's another tip I want to give to you. You need to write down everything. If you're starting from scratch and you're starting with a first draft, you need to write down everything, even if it sounds stupid, doesn't make sense. Write it down because you never know how your book will come out. I like to think of my book as not me writing the story, but it writing itself. And you never know what can happen. You might realize that what seems stupid at first actually works in your story. So you need to take this advantage and make sure that you write down everything on top of sharing your story. You need to spread out your story. You need to get more people to see your story. So right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm giving my sister each chapter that I complete and let her review it and see how it does. Originally I got my wife and friends to see it, but they haven't really got back to me. But when I complete the book and make the changes that my sister provides to me, then I'm going to give it to my wife and friends and let them evaluate and see what I can do to improve it. And after I take into consideration what they suggest, I'll adapt my book to make it better. And eventually down the road, I would like to hire an editor to make my book the best that it can be. That's the last step before I publish. But my goal here, my Wallbreaker goal, is to write a chapter each week. That's going to be a little difficult, but I'm up for the challenge because I really want this book to be written and published. That is a dream of mine. That is a Wallbreaker goal I would like to do, to put my writing to the test and make it good. I think I have something that's really good, that's fresh and new, and that's what I would like to try. I like to put it out there and to share it. And like I said, that's my biggest tips for anyone who's watching this right now, deciding if they want to write. Just do it. Just do it. I promise you, is once you have it on paper and you just write whatever comes to your mind. I don't care how stupid it is. I don't care how petty it might seem to be. You just never know, because the book will write itself. And that's what I'm starting to see. The more I write, it's writing itself. I'm just typing it and just going along with the story that it comes to me, and the book will come to you. So that is my tip. Okay, so we're moving on to the book I'm reading that is inspiring me. Now, before I get into that, I have to admit that when I read, I'm not one of those super fast readers. My wife is. She can take probably a 700 page book and read it in less than 3 days. I mean, she loves Harry Potter, and she's read each and every book like so many times that the books are falling apart. She loves Harry Potter so much that when her dad went to England, she made him get all the Harry Potter books and send them back, because that's how much she loves them. She reads Harry Potters to my daughters, and she's that big on Harry Potter. She loves everything J.K. Rowling has done with that series of books. So she loves reading. She's a super fast reader. Me, on the other hand, I am not that fast a reader. I am very slow with it. And if I read something, it could take me a year. Like I'll be reading like the first few chapters, and then I'll stop and forget about it a year, and then a year after I'll get back to it and start reading again. So I'm not. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not a fast reader. I do love to read. I think it's fun. I think when I get time, I like to sit down, and it relaxes me to read, especially when I'm going to sleep. I like to read a good story. But going to the book that I'm reading that's inspiring me right now, the book that I'm reading is Game of Thrones. I know we've all seen Game of Thrones, or most of us that have seen Game of Thrones at least heard of it. And the book is really, really good. But the reason I'm writing the book is because of Game of Thrones. I watched the show first, obviously, because it's just a better idea just to watch the show or movie before reading the books, because it's obvious the books are always going to be better than the TV show or movie. Let's just be honest. And that's the case with Game of Thrones. So I watched the show. I watched all the seasons up to season 7, which I'm going to watch soon when all of it's out. And I was like, okay, this is a really great show. Now I want to read the books. So I started to read the books, and I'm reading the first book. I have yet to finish it. I'm like 20 pages away at the time of this video, and I'm almost done. And I'm going to move on to the next book when I finish this. I've been reading this book for a while now. Like I said, I'm not really a fast reader, so I have to break it down, because if I try to read too much, I get tired and I just pass out. That's just the way it is for me. I can't just read a 100-page book in one sitting. I have to break it down in order for me to get through it. Because if I try to read 100 pages in one sitting, I'll probably at best do like maybe 15 to 20 pages before I stop reading. So I break it down. I try to do like 2 to 3 pages at night. If I'm not too busy, if it's not too late in the night, I try to read that. What I learned from reading Game of Thrones is the writing is it's a very challenging book. What I love about Game of Thrones is that it's very detailed, but that detailed can make it hard to read, that you can lose your focus and lose the fact that you're in the zone. Like when I'm reading the book and I'm in the zone, there's always words that comes into the book that just, I don't know what it is, so it throws me off. And instead of just moving on, I am stuck trying to figure out what that word is in the book, and that's what makes it hard to read for me. Is that I am reading, I'm in the zone, and then there's a word and it throws me off. On top of that, the author of Game of Thrones, when he writes in a lot of run-on sentences, which is fine by me because it's so detailed that it's just, you can't. I mean, I can see why he did that, because if you throw that off, if you don't have those sentences, you kind of lose what he's talking about. So he adds a lot of run-on sentences, which is hard to read because it's so long and it doesn't end. You don't get a break to take in and digest what is being written, what is written, and it's really, really challenging. So I am reading that, and like I said, I am almost done reading Game of Thrones. It's a very good book, and it's inspired me to write my book right now. So I am having a good time reading that and writing my book. So I am almost done with this video. But like I said, to recap, I'm almost done with my chapter 4 on my book, and I look to start on chapter 5 this week and write chapter 5 and continue, and just hope to have it done by at least the end of the year, probably early next year. Have my second draft done, and then pass it on to friends and family before I do a paid editor to check it out, because I want to make sure I get the best book as possible. So this is my second blog, and I have a question for you. If you're writing, what are you writing about? What's your characters? What's your plot? What ideas do you have to share to the world? And also, just like last week's question, what's holding you back if you have an idea and you haven't written? Is it because you're afraid that someone's going to say no? Is it because you're not sure if this is going to work? Please post, and if you have a plot or an idea about a book that you want to write, post it. Comment below, and I will try my best to reply and say if it's good, and if it's really good, I'll be honest and tell you. But for most part, if you have an idea, it's probably a good story. You just need to put it on with pen and paper. So please, 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 like I said, if you like this video, please hit subscribe, smash that like button. Also, I'm on Instagram as AZ Wallbreaker. And also, I have other stories, like travel stories, so Wallbreakers Travel, check it below, and I will be signing out.